Okay, here we go. Clickbaity video that I've been promising. This is why I think the sciatic nerve doesn't exist. So everyone understands the term sciatica. It's electrical pain that starts in the back or buttock and shoots down the back of the leg, often associated with a herniated disc. And if you look in anatomy books, they all have this thing called the sciatic nerve. So I'm definitely going against the buck and the trend on that.
Have you gone mad?
But let me explain from an anatomy perspective why I think the sciatic nerve isn't a real nerve. And it's technical and it's kind of naming and nomenclature, but it's important to understand the anatomy of how we get leg pain, and then I'll explain why the sciatic nerve doesn't exist. So this is the lower lumbar area, L3, L4, L5. We have a plate of bone at the bottom called the sacrum, and then we have the tailbone, which is way down here at the bottom. And then we have nerves that exit in between each of the vertebrae. So this is the L3 nerve, this is the L4 nerve, and then we have L5, and all of the sacral nerves come out and they form this bundling of nerves, which we call the plexus, the sacral plexus. And from that sacral plexus, before it really leaves the back area, or just outside of the back area, it forms these big cable nerves called the tibial nerve and the fibular nerve, named for the tibia and the fibula of your leg, of your lower leg, where it's going to eventually get down to. So the tibial and fibular nerve then come down and will occasionally form into one big nerve, which is labeled the sciatic nerve. That nerve then passes either under, over, or through this muscle called the piriformis muscle, and then shoots down to the feet, okay, where it will eventually become the tibial and fibular nerve. Okay, so there I just said it was sciatic nerve. Why do I think the sciatic nerve isn't real? Well, imagine a river that is formed by the convergence of two other rivers, okay? But that river, those two waters that come together, never mingle. They never mix. There's a divider in the large river where the fibers or the water from that river and the water from that river never mix. And that's what happens. The tibial nerve and the fibular nerve stay separate from each other. They're two separate bundles. Occasionally they'll be together and they will have a wrapped around connective tissue, and we call that the sciatic nerve. But to be clear, if you dissected it completely, you would have two separate cables. You would have the tibial nerve and you would have the fibular nerve. Okay, but because they're all in this one big lump, we call that the sciatic nerve. But for some people, they never converge. And I'll never forget this because in medical school, the cadaver that we worked on, the lady had a separated nerve component, and her fibular nerve passed through the piriformis muscle, the tibial nerve passed under it, and they never were one singular nerve. They were always separate. So I still will use the term sciatica. That is a term that people use that everyone understands. I still call things the sciatic nerve, but if I'm going to be technical about it, I really think the sciatic nerve or sciatica is from a piriformis spasm or a piriformis issue, whereas a herniated disc causes an L5 problem or an S1 problem, or even an L4 problem in some cases. So, what we call from the lumbar area, if I'm not going to call it sciatica, what do I call it? I call it a radiculopathy, which is a silly word, but that's the term, that's the medical term for it, is a radiculopathy. So radiculopathy is from the lumbar area. Sciatic is really buttock pain from a usually spasmed piriformis that shoots pain all the way down to the feet. So there you go. The sciatic nerve isn't really a nerve at all.